Humanitarian crisis, a crisis of the heart and a crisis of the soul.
Right now at 9, the president making his pitch for a border wall. We'll have a wrap-up. Plus,
if I've disappointed you, I'm truly sorry.
A big announcement from a prominent state senator. Here is apology made on the first day of the new legislature.
And if your New Year's resolution is to lose weight, we have some tips on how to make it just a little bit easier.
An earthquake strikes the Delta and much cooler weather is on its way. I'll have your forecast. Jackson's official local news at 9 starts right now.
Fox 40 News starts now with breaking news.
So the shutdown stalemate continues. In just the past hour, President Trump addressed the nation from the Oval Office.
Both Democrats and Trump refuse to back down as the battle over funding a border wall keeps the federal government partially shut down. Ray Bogan has the latest.
After 18 days, there's still no solution in sight to end the partial government shutdown. In Washington, Ray Bogan, Fox News.
President Trump addresses the nation amidst the government shutdown over funding for his border wall. 601-965-7540. You know the number to have your voice heard tomorrow night in the Fox 40 feedback. New at 9, we want you to take a close look at these photos. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation needs your help figuring out this child's identity. Back in January 2014, his remains found in eastern Sharkey County. You're looking now at an artist's rendering from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. He was between 5 and 7 years old at the time of his death. If you have any information, call MBI or the State Highway Patrol or Crime Stoppers. Developing tonight, lawmakers back in Jackson beginning the 3-month legislative session. Fox 40's Courtney Ann Jackson was there as they gavelled in this afternoon. She joins us live from the state capitol with a recap of day 1. Courtney Ann.
Mike, I've said this before, but it's truly the best way to describe day 1 of a legislative session. It's a lot like the first day of school. Everyone's catching up with their friends, finding out what happened over the break, but they really don't get any work done. But that won't last for long, I can assure you of that. Over the coming weeks and days, thousands of bills will be filed. Among the list of possible issues, repealing the hybrid and electric vehicle tax, a pay raise for teachers and state workers, criminal justice reform, and strengthening the state's human trafficking laws. The budget is always a big question mark, especially at the end of the session, and several lawmakers tell me that things are looking up, but that also means more requests for money.
They understand, and most people are asking for level funding, and so
there are a couple of other big talkers, if you will, that caught pre-session attention. Some lawmakers will push to do away with excessive testing in our schools, and there will likely be a push for electric cooperatives to be allowed to provide internet to rural areas. Now, one item did get taken care of over on the Senate side of things today, and that was an announcement from Republican Senator Terry Burton. Now, Terry Burton was charged with second offense DUI just last month before Christmas. While the Senate was not in the chamber for long, 5 minutes of the time that they were there was taken with an apology and an announcement from Burton. I can tell you that you could have heard a pin drop in that chamber all throughout his speech. Burton made the announcement that he is resigning from his leadership role of Senate pro tempore.
I hope that my actions and the spotlight that has been shown on me does not reflect back on the 51 people I'm looking at right now.
His fellow senators stood and applauded him when he left that podium. Burton says he will remain in his Senate seat but will not seek re-election this year. His resignation as Senate pro tempore is effective very soon at midnight. Now, of course, this means that the Senate will be charged with electing a new Senate pro tempore in just the coming days, and we'll find out who the number 2 man or woman in charge in the state Senate will be. For now, live at the state capitol, Courtney Ann Jackson, Fox 40 News.
And if you want to see the full statement from Senator Burton, we have it posted on our website, WLBT.com. Just click on this story.
So we do have a silver alert to tell you about. Please take a look at your screen. Authorities searching for this man, 64-year-old Willie C. Purnell. He was last seen wearing blue jeans, a gray sweater on January 2nd in Humphreys County. Now, he did accept a ride in a black Nissan, but if you know where Willie Purnell is, you are asked to call the Humphrey County Sheriff's Department. The man accused of gunning down 2 Brookhaven police officers last year faces a judge. Marquise Flowers charged with 2 counts of capital murder and the deaths of Corporal Zach Moak and Patrolman James White on September 29th. Judge Roger Martin gave Flowers no bond. His case is bound over to the grand jury. According to the Associated Press, an agent with the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation testified that Flowers told him in an interview that the cops were caught in my crossfire. An investigator also says body camera footage shows Flowers shooting the officers at close range. Well, if you were in the Delta today, you may have felt the earth move literally beneath your feet.
Oh, it was better than all this rain we've been getting. Dave, what happened up there today?
Well, yeah, they had an earthquake, all right, in Washington County, and this is kind of a rare earthquake only because of its strength. Now, a 3.7 is not off the charts, but it doesn't happen that often in Mississippi. You're going to want to bundle up when you see my forecast. Details for you in a few minutes.
Thank you, Dave. New information about a woman murdered in Pike County. 2 days before she was killed, Erica Hall called the Pike County Sheriff's Department for help. Investigators say it was the only call made to deputies before she was found stabbed multiple times and shot Friday night. Her 14-year-old daughter is charged as an adult with her murder, and a 12-year-old girl was also taken into custody. Wednesday, deputies were called to Hall's Lawson Road home for a disturbance call about an unruly child. She did not press charges against the 14-year-old in the incident.
Call us, we'll run out there and talk to the kids, get a report on file, and we can go through youth court and have a hearing, and the judge feel like that kid needs to go to detention center, then that he or she will go. But we've got to get the process started by filing the report, calling the police.
The 14-year-old now being held in isolation at the Pike County Jail.
New at 9, after the death of Erica Hall, you may be wondering what you can do to make sure that you address red flags when it comes to violence in children. Fox 40 spoke with Dr. Damian Thomas, a professional counselor who's worked with children and adolescents who've dealt with the same sort of issues.
Parent or any adult should always encourage what I call courtesy words, making sure that they're using words to express themselves and not use violent acts to express themselves. To make sure that we're using authoritative parenting, which consists of boundaries, consists of discipline, which consists of them knowing the limits of a certain behavior. And so modeling overall is what we encourage.
Dr. Thomas says if you're worried about your children and violence, start looking at their peer group. Make sure that they're in school and that they're involved in activities.
New at 9, 2018 will go down as one of the deadliest years in Jackson's history. 84 people losing their lives. And tonight, C.J. LeMaster takes a closer look at those numbers and how we stack up against other cities across the nation. He joins us live from Jackson Police Headquarters with details.
Mike, those 84 killings represent around, actually the 3rd deadliest year in the capital city's history. Now, of course, the rate of killings, though, which also takes into account the city's population, actually is historically the highest it's ever been. That's according to a Fox 40 investigation of data provided from JPD to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Now, that's also a fact that Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba disputes tonight. Jackson's homicide rate for 2018 stands at 50.3 per 100,000 people. That's twice as high as Chicago's rate. Now, we looked at 24 cities' homicide rates across the nation with at least 150,000 people and found that Jackson ranks 3rd highest in the nation out of that list, below Birmingham and St. Louis. We reached out to the mayor's office today to talk to him about this and get an on-camera interview. We got this statement instead. It reads in part, quote, "The city is deeply concerned about the growing homicide rate, and while it is not the highest rate that the city has seen, it does represent a significant jump in recent years. What we are looking at is the data that suggests that over 70% of our homicides are based on interpersonal relationships that are broken down, and so people are finding permanent solutions to temporary problems." That's why we're supporting and encouraging things such as our violence interruption training, because we cannot simply police it, end quote. Now, you can see the full statement a little later from the mayor on our website, WLBT.com. We also reached out to Jackson's police chief to comment on this, but he did not respond. Reporting in Jackson, CJ LeMaster, Fox 40 News.
All right, thanks so much, CJ. Well, a store clerk is brutally attacked in a robbery. You'll hear exclusively from the clerk about his frightening ordeal.
Plus an explosion at an ammunition plant in North Mississippi. We have the latest on injuries. You're watching Fox 40 News at 9. Now a Fox 40 exclusive. We talked to a man brutally attacked by someone stealing from his family's convenience store.
It happened last night at around 8 p.m. at the One Stop Food Mart on Northside Drive near Bailey Avenue. The man, who was working behind the cash register at the time, says he's visiting from India and was just helping out at a family member when they ran an errand. So the man suffered a broken arm and bruises to his body. He says he locked the doors on a man who tried to leave the store with several items without paying. That man became irate and attacked him behind the counter with a baseball bat. Customers at the store say the attacker lives in the neighborhood and often hangs out at the car wash just next door.
He come inside and blindly beating me, and he got my base bat from my hand and hit 4 or 5 shots. And he tried to hit me on the head, but I used my right hand to stop him.
Tonight, police are still working to identify the man who actually attacked the clerk, but if you have any information about this crime, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers.
We're following developing news in North Mississippi. 7 people injured in an explosion at a chemical and ammunition plant in Oxford. The Lafayette County Sheriff's Office says it happened around 1:30 this afternoon at the Olin Winchester plant. Officials there say there was an internal explosion resulting in smoke filling the building, and hazmat was not called to the scene. In a statement, a company spokesperson says 7 employees are being treated for minor injuries. Remember, you can keep track of developing news anytime by downloading the free WLBT News app.
So if you're trying to get fit, we do have some tips to make the transition to healthy eating a little bit easier. Stick with us. You're watching Fox 40 News at 9:30. So, new year, new you? Probably not, but that is typically always the plan. Living a healthier lifestyle, even losing weight, typically tops the list for resolutions. So we found a professional chef who's also a fitness trainer to offer some tips to successfully make the transition to healthy eating just a little bit easier.
So that's why I don't really like to throw the diet word out. It can be detrimental to you, and it can hurt you in the long run.
So let's just say you want to follow one of those commercial diet plans. Well, these are the top 3, and this is according to U.S. News and World Report. The number 1 is Weight Watchers, followed by Jenny Craig and the Nutritarian diet choices. And if you're looking for the easiest diet plans, well, once again, the Mediterranean diet, that's the one that was there that we just talked about. It's number 1, followed by the Flexitarian and Weight Watchers, both tied at number 2. So for a complete list of those top diets and a full description of each one, head over to our website. It's WLBT.com.
A warm day out there today, but so much for that. Cooler weather is on the way. Get your jackets ready. I'll have your forecast coming up. And getting back into the 50s next week.
All right, thanks so much, Dave. So right now, let's take you to some live pictures from Vicksburg. You're looking at I-20 at the Mississippi River, which is getting pretty high.
In fact, the Army Corps of Engineers just activating its Emergency Operations Center. It's now in emergency watch status due to high water in the forecast for Mississippi and its tributaries. Officials will keep a close eye on levees, flood walls, and pumping stations, though so far there are no significant sand boils or seepage at flood control sites. We'll continue in coverage of the government shutdown, including its effects on food assistance programs. You're watching Fox 40 News.